NFL, college football, Major League Baseball, we've got them all covered today in the Power 5 with line moves, buy low and sell high spots, a key underdog ATS trend, and our power play of the day, which, oh, by the way, is now on a 15-7, that's 68% run, after last night's win on the Rays. Let's get it going now for how the market is moving. We start by looking at tonight's 3-game college football card. Western Kentucky was down as low as -5 at some shops against Middle Tennessee. That was after opening -7.5. But looking at the WagerTalk.com live odds screen, the Hilltoppers now back up to -6.5 pretty much across the board. Elsewhere, you got Temple down to +3.5 at Tulsa. The Owls open +4.5 there. The total for that game also on the move up to 55.5 from an opening number of 54. Kind of curious given those two offenses. And Jacksonville State now -6.5. They opened -5.5 at Sam Houston State, a battle of the two first-year FBS programs. Well, bad offense. How about Sam Houston State? They scored 10 points in 3 games. One big line move to report for today's MLB action. That's Milwaukee. They're out to -190, actually -195 now versus St. Louis. That number opened -165. The Brew Crew, 24-12 their last 36 games overall, 14-4 last 18 at home. They've got Corbin Burns on the hill. Bettors clearly expect them to keep rolling. Thursday night football in NFL. The Lions currently -1.5 at Green Bay. Starting to see some -2s out there. As I mentioned in our stat of the day segment earlier this week, this is the first time the Lions are favored at Lambeau Field since 1986. The total is 46. That's down half a point from the opening number. Note, the Packers are one of just 4 teams in the league that have covered the closing number in all 3 weeks. Moving on. We do not have a sell high today in any of the 3 aforementioned sports, but I'm going to give you 2 buy low teams instead. College football, let's look at Temple, who, like I said earlier, down to +3.5 against Tulsa. This is a battle of 2-2 teams whose wins have come at the expense of MAC and FCS schools, while the losses have been to Power 5 teams. Not teams that belong to this show, teams that are in the top 5 conferences in America, obviously. All eyes here are going to be on whether or not Tulsa quarterback Braylon Braxton can return. Without him, the Golden Hurricane have averaged just over 16 points per game, although facing Washington and Oklahoma, not all that ideal if you're a Tulsa fan. But whether or not Braxton returns, here's the thing for Tulsa. They are just 3-12 ATS as home chalk. Temple, 5-1 ATS when playing with conference revenge. They lost at home to Tulsa last year. I say buy low on the Owls, getting 3 in the hook here. For MLB, when it comes to buying low, let's look at the Seattle Mariners, who have had a terrible last week, losing 5 of their last 6. Thus, they're now on the verge of being eliminated from playoff contention. Just 4 games left. They're 1.5 games out of the wild card in the American League. Tonight, a big revenge spot at home against the first-place Rangers, who swept them last weekend in Arlington. In fact, Seattle's lost 7 straight now to the Rangers going back to May. But they are slight favorites Thursday night with Logan Gilbert on the mound. Gilbert is going to be going against Jordan Montgomery. This is an immediate rematch from last Saturday, a game Texas obviously won 2-0. But I still say Gilbert's the better starter here, and I would look, believe it or not, to back the M's in this series opener. Who are you selling high and buying low on tonight in any of the 3 sports? Throw your favorite bets down in the comments section while you're at it. If you like what you're hearing, go ahead, smash that like button. I've got a free play coming up momentarily on Yankees Blue Jays, by the way. Stat of the day, going back to his days at Louisiana, Florida Gators head coach Billy Napier is 11-2 ATS as a conference dog, including 7-0 ATS when getting 5 points or less. Just 2 weeks ago, we backed Napier and the Gators as a home dog against Tennessee as a 5% play, and they won outright. This week, they're down to +1, just 1 at Kentucky. Bettors must be keen to this stat because that number opened +3. It's a noon Eastern Time kickoff, by the way, on Saturday. One last thing before we get to the power play of the day, which again is on a 68% run. I am the $2 handicapper this week at WagerTalk. That means you can get my very first 5% NFL play of the season for only $2. Through the first 3 weeks of the season, I'm hitting 67% overall in NFL, 10-5 record. That includes a 6-1 record with sides. 5 of those 6 sides were underdogs that won outright. This first 5% play is my strongest side release to date. And again, it's only $2. Just head on over right now to WagerTalk.com and pick it up before that line moves. Let's now wrap things up with the power play of the day. Toronto looking to avoid a sweep against the Yankees tonight at home. They dropped the first 2 games of the series, but the Blue Jays still occupy the second wildcard spot in the American League. Just 1 half game ahead of the Astros, and then as I previously mentioned, the Mariners are also hanging around. One of those 3 teams will be the odd team out. The Yankees, we know they're not making the playoffs, but give them credit. Garrett Cole pitched like he really wanted the Cy Young, and the team needs just one more win, the Yankees do, to continue their streak of consecutive seasons with a winning record. They have not had a losing record in any season since '92. But I like the Jays with Chris Bassett on the mound here, at least for the first 5. I know Toronto has not scored a single run in this series. You can't win if you don't score runs. And that's pretty shocking that they haven't been able to score a run in 2 games. They have not been shut out in back-to-back games in over a year, have the Jays. But they're facing Luke Weaver tonight. They can't score off him. Maybe they don't deserve to make the postseason. And Bassett's a big favorite for a reason. He's got a 2 ERA his last 5 starts. 4 of those have resulted in Toronto wins. The price is juicy here, so I'm going to let that for the full game. So I'm going to lay the half run in the first 5 with Bassett and the Jays. Look for them to be leading after 5 frames. And that does it for the Power 5 for Thursday, September 28th. Check me out on Twitter at Bryan Power _wins. Now let's all go catch some tickets.